Welcome back to the Core EM Podcast. Core content for anyone, anywhere, and just in time. This is the official podcast of the NYU Bellevue EM Residency Program. I'm Anand Swami Nathan.
And I'm Jenny Beckesme.
Jenny, today is a big moment for us, something I think we're both pretty proud of. I'm going to let you tell the audience. This is a big deal, but I'm going to give this one to you.
That is such an honor. Thank you. This is super exciting. It's a great day for us because this is, drumroll, our 100th episode.
Oh man. Yeah. One big 100. When
we made it. We made it all the way to 100 episodes.
Yeah. A lot of people told us we weren't going to. And I say to those people, I can't use any of the words that I would use on the podcast. 100's a big deal. When people turn 100, we make a big deal out of it. So I think we should make a big deal out of us turning 100 here.
Agreed. Couldn't agree with you more. So we started this about 2 years ago or so, and we've been doing a podcast every week since then.
Yeah, there have been very few weeks that we missed. I think there were a couple of weeks I was on vacation that we didn't post something, but that was really about it. So 2 years, 100 podcasts. Jenny, you've been on for about half of the podcast now.
Yeah, I think that's probably about right.
Yeah, I think that's about right too. And, we've had some guests and some ground rounds, but overall, I think it's been a pretty good 2 years. And we kind of just wanted to take a moment for episode 100 to reflect on the project a little bit. Think about what we've done and maybe think about where we should be going next.
Yeah, a little self-reflection.
So, let me give the listeners a bit on the project. Obviously, I'm kind of preaching to the converted here since they're listening. But, the goal of the project was the tagline. It was supposed to be core content for anyone, anywhere, and just in time. And the point being that we wanted to create high quality core content review on multiple platforms. So the blog, the podcast, the videos, this is what we wanted to deliver. And we wanted to make sure that anyone around the world who wanted access to this could get it for free. And for 2 years, we've been able to do that. And I don't think we're planning on changing anything. We are planning on keeping this as much as humanly possible, completely free to anyone who wants it.
I love that. You got me to buy into foam very early in my residency. I kind of tinkered with it a little bit before getting to residency, and then I kind of dove in, and you even got me to make a Twitter account. I've got some Twitter followers now, so I think keeping this open for everybody all the time is exactly the dream.
Yeah, and I think we were hoping also to inspire some others to create some core content, maybe to elevate their game. I'm not sure if we're quite there yet, but we're going to keep pushing, and hopefully some other people who listen to what we do will decide that it's time for them to start something similar. Jenny, I have a lot of things that I've learned over the last 2 years, but tell me what this project has meant to you and maybe what you've learned over the 2 years of doing it.
So I was kind of reflecting on this as we were getting ready for our 100th episode, and there's two main things I kind of wanted to mention. One was that most of us got into medicine, at least in part, because we enjoy learning things. And I think along the way, sometimes that becomes a little bit less fun because it's so much of a grind. But I think if you kind of explore the foam options, the podcasts, and the blogs, and then start exploring creating it yourself, you remember that learning really is fun. And that's part of why we're doing this. And so that was one of the main things I'm taking from this. And then the second one is that this is, cliche and you hear it all the time, but teaching something really is the best way to learn it. So you don't really realize how you don't understand the nuances of something or what you don't really know about something until you try and teach it. So I would really encourage other people to write blog posts. And if you don't want to put stuff up on the foam world, that's fine. Create a little mini summary of something, anything that you can use on your next shift to teach one of your juniors. Like just do a few minutes of prep because it's fun. It feels good to teach people and you really learn a lot by doing it.
That's a great point. I think it's nice to have sort of a set of things that you could teach on the fly. That's kind of how I started when I was a senior resident. I just had a little cachet of things. And you're absolutely right. Getting to teach it the way that we have the opportunity to do really solidifies this stuff. I love your take homes. I love the things that you've learned. Here's what I've learned. The first is that running a blog and a podcast takes way more time than I imagined. I remember when I started this and I started budgeting time, I was like, 10 hours a week. That'll be fine. It's definitely been way more than that, but totally worth it. The second thing I've learned that, yourself included, I have the absolute best residents in the world. In spite of all of the work that you guys have to do, you continue to contribute to the blog and the podcast and the core content. And I'm really amazed at how much you do. I tell you, I did not do that when I was a resident. I was like head down, nose to the grindstone, just get through this 4 years. The faculty have been great as well, acting as primary peer reviewers, sometimes creating posts as well. And we're hoping to give them the opportunity a little bit more to get their voice out there. And then the fourth thing I've learned is how little core knowledge I actually have. I spent a lot of time over the last 4 years trying to hone my resuscitation skills, but a lot of the core content fell away. And so this has been a great opportunity for me to review that core content, to talk with you about it, and really to jog my memory on things that we do every day as opposed to, maybe once a week or maybe once a month.
Yeah, I love that. I think reviewing the core content is crucial.
So Jenny, where are we planning on taking this next?
Well, since we are loving doing it and we think that we're contributing something a little bit useful, at least, I think we're going to keep doing things like we have. Keep up the weekly podcast and keep up the weekly content on the blog post that we've been doing so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that's going to be a little challenging is that you are leaving the mothership. You're leaving NYU. You're going across town to St. Luke's Roosevelt, not too far away, but I guess across and a little bit uptown. But you're going to continue to contribute. You're going to continue to be on the podcast, right?
Absolutely. I want to. I would love to.
All right. So we're going to keep you on. I think that the listeners would be very upset if it was just me. And it won't be just me. It'll be the two of us. And, we're going to bring on some other residents. We're going to start to get some other residents into the mix, maybe some faculty in the mix as well. I want to get more of our diverse faculty involved and highlight the things that they do that are amazing. The other things that I want to start highlighting a little bit more is some of the social side of medicine, some of the things that aren't necessarily core content, but things that we do every day. And then I also want to plan to expand to some of our other providers. So our nurses, our PAs, our NPs, and start getting them involved as well. I think it's one of the things that we haven't done a good job about yet. So this is what I am looking forward to.
I think that is a great idea. I know that a lot of those other kinds of providers are really utilizing this resource, so we should definitely get them involved in helping to create it.
Absolutely. Now, the last thing I want to do is just give some thank yous, and then we're going to close up this show that had absolutely nothing to do with core content, nothing for you to take to your next shift, except maybe a little bit of inspiration that you gave everybody. So I just want to say thank you to NYU and Bellevue for believing in the project and supporting it. Thanks to our chairman, Rob Femia, for putting the department support behind it. Thanks to Jeff Manko, my program director, your program director, and one of my mentors, somebody that really supported just this effort and a lot of other things that I've done. Thanks to Dr. Goldfrank, who has inspired us to deliver education to everyone. Thanks to obviously our great residents who have written and listened and given us feedback when we've done things that weren't so great. Jenny, obviously, thanks to you for providing the podcast scripts, the show notes, everything that we do. It's been great to have somebody else to bounce all of this off of, to chat with, instead of, sitting in my basement and talking to myself, which,
it's really fun. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, if you sit in the basement and talk to yourself for too long, eventually they will commit you. So I'm happy that at least I can pretend I'm talking to somebody else. And I do also want to thank one of our residents in particular, Mike Shamoon, who really is the brains behind the site itself. He created a beautiful site when I wanted something that was very simple and straightforward. He said, no, we can make something that really looks nice and it's going to be user friendly, but people are going to love it. So if you like the site, it's all Mike Shamoon's fault. If you don't like the site, it's also all of Mike Shamoon's fault. I had nothing to do with it then.
Absolutely.
And of course, Jenny, we want to thank all of our listeners, all of our readers for giving us feedback, giving us ideas for podcasts, and continuing to listen in spite of the fact that, again, many people told us we wouldn't be around for this long. So thank you guys for making this happen.
Yes, thank you, all of you.
All right. Well, that's all for the Core EM podcast this week. We will be back next week with some true core content. In the meantime, though, we will have a core post up this Wednesday. We'll have a journal update up on Thursday as always. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, check us out on Google Plus, and on Twitter, where our handle is @core_EM. And if you've been listening all this time, give us some feedback. Pop on over to iTunes. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. Tell us what we can do to get better. Thanks, and see you all next week.